Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to have the next tasting of my batch 12 in my 2-hop series featuring Cascade and Centennial. All in all, I did 20 beers in this series, all using Cascade and Centennial some way or another. So batch 12 is Cascade Centennial, and usually what that means is I used more Cascade than I used Centennial. That's how I was doing it, just to keep track of everything. So this one is dealing with Whirlpool. So we've done the standard, just brew with them. Then we did first wort hopping of the beginning of the boil hops. Then we did the end. We threw some Crystal 40 in there. We've done some other stuff. So now we're going to Whirlpool with them and see how that turns out. Now these are small batches, 1.25 gallons going into the carboy. So if you would want to make a 5-gallon batch of one of these, you're going to have to scale the recipe. This one, 2 pounds, 4 ounces of 2-row. Then for the boil, 1 hour boil, 0.25 ounces of Cascade at 60, 0.25 ounces of Centennial at 10, 0.25 ounces of Cascade at 5. Once the boil's over, we will let the temperature drop to 170. Then we will steep for 15 minutes, 0.25 ounces of Centennial and Cascade. 3 days into fermentation, we will dry hop with 0.25 ounces of each Cascade and Centennial. US 05 was used. This was bottled on 9/27, so little under 11 months old, about 10 and a half, 6.25% ABV. Beersmith wanted this to be 4.8% and 37 IBUs. Okay hiss, okay smoke. This one doesn't seem to have as much carbonation. I do see some bubbles rising, but not as much as in the other batches. Let's see if this one produces a head. Because I would say on like the last 4, 8, 9, and 10, or no, 9 and 10, the heads were pretty good on there. We were starting to get peaks and valleys, but the carbonation was too high on those, and I just did 11, batch 11, and that one was high too. This one doesn't seem as happy with the head. White bubbles, small and medium in there, not even a quarter finger of head. I do see a lot of bubbles coming up, somewhat cloudy. I can make out the light box and the bell's outline of the black through it. Yeah, lots of bubbles coming up, yellow, bright yellow in color. Let's go ahead and smell. That's one thing I didn't mention in the other one. So doing the first wort hopping is supposed to give you a nicer profile of the smell and the actual taste. So it's not supposed to be as jagged. And smelling this, it's like smooth. A little floral, a little citrus. I think in this one the citrus is a little bit more. But there's also like a sweet, light toasted bread over that, or I guess I would say squashed in the middle. So you have that citrus, then you've got that sweet, lightly toasted bread, and then you've got the floral in there. Yeah, smells good. Lighter lighter smell. I would guess we need to up that dry hop just to make it punch a little bit more. But again, it is about 10 and a half months old. So let's go ahead and taste, see what we get. It is smoother. I think the carbonation's fine in this. It does, I think with a lower carbonation level, just from just doing the batch 11, it feels thicker. The body does feel thicker, but I guess that's because there's not as much carbonation in there, just popping all the time, so you can't really taste it. a little on the dry side, if I had to say. Like, you get a little bit of that citrus, a little floral. There is a lot of bitterness, but not as much that versus what was in beer 11 and beer 10 in this series. A little sweet malt in there. It's almost like that sweet malt is coming off like something you would get in like a double IPA, like a lower double IPA, maybe an 8%, around there. I wouldn't say syrup, but it's getting close to that like sugary malty syrup taste. Yeah, you get a lot of that, especially in the aftertaste. That malty light syrup is of a double IPA is what you're getting. There is some bitterness, there is some citrus in the aftertaste. I think I would want more of that citrus and maybe a little bit more of that floral up front. It seems like up front of the palate, you are getting more of that malty taste than anything. Yeah, I would say it's more like kind of like a West Coast IPA. Maybe a little bit more maltiness in there, a bigger bitterness, with less, I wouldn't say taste, but less like citrus, fruitiness, floral, something around there. Most of the time when I think of a West Coast IPA, you're going to get a little bit more malt, you're going to get a lot of bitterness, and there's going to be like a low tone of something else, a citrus, a floral, earthiness, something like that in there. And that's kind of what this reminds me of. It's just, I think it almost tastes like there's more citrus and floral in the aftertaste than there is in the actual taste. So I don't know if that's the bitterness is covering a lot of that up, because like I said, at 37 IBUs, this is probably around 70. It feels like. So perceived bitterness 70, Beersmith 37. They do, and I'll have to check this because I don't think they used to do this, but from what this is, yeah, this wouldn't be, because I know Beersmith just had another update, but I noticed it on another one that even at your Whirlpool now, they're showing IBUs, which I think is weird, because I think they didn't used to show that, but whatever. So it's saying the Centennial in the Whirlpool is adding 15 IBUs to this, but yeah, I think this is okay. Somebody that likes a West Coast IPA would probably be okay drinking this. For me, I don't think it's balanced enough between the hops that are used and the bitterness level. But again, we're 10 months old. This beer could have been totally different 8 months ago. So make sure you go back and check some of the other videos out if you're interested in brewing a beer like this. But yeah, for the most part, it's not a drain pour. But yeah, it's drinking like a lighter double IPA with a lot of bitterness in there. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, check some more out over here. And until next time, happy brewing.